He'll get your life back to normal. Lonnie with Restore It Restoration.
Welcome to another edition of the Service Guys podcast. I'm your co-host, Ruel Abadam, and on the other line we have our service professional, Lonnie Beecham. What is up, Lonnie?
How you doing? We've only been chatting for 20 minutes while Jackie's getting through the mountains.
Wait a minute. Who is Jackie? Is that our special guest today?
I think so. The one we've only talked about for the last 3 months. We finally got Jackie Jones on the line. So, Jackie, why don't you introduce the few people that listen that might not know who you are?
Hi, everybody. Glad to be here. I listen to your podcast every time, so both you and Ruel's podcast I do listen to. And we know each other mostly online from our other group that we're all in, the No Sugar, No Grain group. And that's me. What do you want me to talk about me?
And I've been lucky enough to meet you 2 or 3, 4 times in person.
Yeah.
And we chat fairly often. Not all the time, but from time to time.
Yeah, we do. Lots of different times we've met. Like they have meetups for these all the people that do No Sugar, No Grain. You know, I try to get to as many as I can. Sometimes it's not possible, and I'm sure for you guys, it's not always possible.
Well, Ruel is a phantom of our imagination. There's only been one person from our group that has actually met him face to face.
Although,
Ruel, you might get a kick out of this. I met with my new CPA today.
Okay.
And finalizing my 2018 taxes. And so I had a list of just some questionable expenses on my account. And they said, "What is this Ruel Abadam?" And I said, "Oh, that's my IT guy."
It's a figment of the imagination.
Like, yeah, because I guess it shows up on my debit card payment, like Ruel Abadam CY, and I'm like, anyway, like, yeah, that's my IT guy. And they're like, "So that's business?" I'm like, "Yep, it's all business, nothing personal."
He's a terrorist. I'm funding a terrorist.
Not to mention the fact that Abadam is a cool name, I think. I've always thought that.
Congratulations.
Yabba
Congratulations, Ruel, on your anniversary. How many years have you been married now?
Oh, thank you. It's 14 years.
Wow.
14 years.
Yeah.
I mean this with all due respect, because you know I love you, but you outkicked your coverage, dude.
I know, man. I wake up every day thinking, like, what the heck?
And that hair from whenever.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Both you and her, that's classy right there, man. We knew how to comb our hair in the 90s, didn't we?
We did. That was 91, I think.
Those were the big hair days.
That was a whole
big
lot
hair.
Yeah.
That was a whole lot of hair product. Yeah.
Yeah. Now I can't comb my hair to save my life, so.
Just put a ball cap on. It's all good.
So JJ, you listened to our show. You've heard us call you out a time or two. We're trying to make this work, and you actually said you came prepared, because that's good, because Ruel and I never prepare squat. So.
I did.
So, you were starting to tell us that you were yelling at me or whatever for the firemen last week. So what do you got on that?
In your last podcast, you talked about how you had some kind of maybe heat in the wall or something. You just wanted the fire department to come on the down low, and
right.
They came with all these trucks and a big response. And did you have the smell of smoke or just physical? Every single thing that you say triggers a different response, and you can say what you'd like us to do, but when you're calling 911, you're talking to someone who has a list of protocols, and if this meets that protocol, this is what we send, and there's really no choice, other than if a caller wants us to no lights, no sirens, come in quiet, because it might upset, someone, especially someone that's mentally ill or things like that. We will advise them, but we can't promise that that's what they'll do. So
well,
I was like, well, you could want them on the down low, but they're going to come with their full response because you never know what you have going on there. And based on what you tell the dispatcher, they have to follow their protocol. So I was just like, well, you can't really decide. It's decided by the fire district what response will go to a smoke smell, to a smoke visible, to different kinds of things that are reported. So there was that, and then I forgot what Ruel's thing. Ruel, were you barbecuing?
Yeah, the fire department responded to a neighbor's, I guess, smoke alarm or something.
Yeah, smoke alarm gives a specific response, at least in my experience, So, anyway, I've been in the 911 industry, and
there you go.
A week from today, October 4th, will be 25 years in 911, and started as a dispatcher. I was a dispatcher for 13 years, taking 911 calls and dispatching, and I've worked in 4 different places, moving around a little bit, and it's a great job, but it's not for everybody, and not everybody understands the work that we do, or what it's like really to answer critical hot 911 calls. And but it's a great job. I'm a director now, but really, truly, the thing that most of us get into this work for is because we want to help people, and that's always been my driver. Is I just want to help people. And, basically, people aren't calling us on their best day. They're calling us because something bad happened. And so
Jackie,
get a lot. Yeah.
So what do you think about when you listen to a podcast and you hear this uninterested 911 dispatch operator, or you hear the one recently that made the news where some lady's freaking out because she's drowning in a car and don't know how to swim, and that lady's making fun of her. What do you think when you hear these kind of stories?
I think that whatever system that dispatcher is working in is failing completely. That's not the norm. That is not what most 911 dispatchers do. And it's unfortunate that it only takes 1 or 2 to make everybody looks like a bad guy. And that's not how we operate. We have a very extensive quality assurance program. We monitor what our dispatchers do, and we do a lot of training. So we don't ever want anyone to be, those dispatchers sound complacent. They don't care, or they're not understanding the gravity of the situation. I don't know. I didn't listen to that call. I heard about it, but I didn't listen to it.
I listen to it. I listen to a lot of true crime podcasts, and you always hear the dispatchers, and you're like, really? You can't have any empathy for the situation, or they're like, can you speak up when they're in a quiet spot hiding for their life, and they're like, speak up, I can't hear you, and they're talking down to them. It's like, really? Come on, listen to what they're saying.
So I can't speak for all those other dispatch centers. Ours isn't like that. And most of the ones that I'm familiar with, which is, I'm in Washington State, I'm very familiar with many of our, we call them public safety answering points, PSAP. That is not the norm, what you're hearing. I'm not sure where they're drawing those tapes from that you listen to. Is that what
from all over.
Is like? Is that what you think
911
is like? Do you think all 911 centers and dispatchers act that way?
No, but you hear you do hear it on the news from time to time. So what's it like sitting behind the desk with the headphone on, and is it exciting? Is it exhilarating? Is it boring?
I can tell you it's all of those things, but number one is every day is a different day, and you never know from 1 minute to the next what's going to happen, but it is not moment-to-moment excitement. There are times when nothing's going on and you're like, okay, my favorite shift is always swing shift. It's the busiest. And the shift fly by. Swing shift, which is 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. People are getting off work. People are moving from place to place and lots of stuff happens. A lot more interactions, it seems like. So it's busier on the swing shift than, a graveyard shift after 2 a.m. It really slows down. So,
what kind of calls come in after 2 a.m.?
Generally, on graveyard, it's more often it's a true emergency versus day shift where people will call 911 for, a dog tied up in the park and nobody around it for hours, things like that. That's not a true emergency in my book. It could have been handled on the non-emergency line. And I think what a lot of citizens don't understand is how many calls we process that are not emergencies. Even though we're a 911 emergency handling center, that is not the majority of our calls. For instance, in my center where I work in 2018, if you look at the difference between the 911s and the non-emergency line, it's gigantic. It's huge. The non-emergencies in 2018 were 113,000 calls versus the 911s, which are 46,000 plus calls. So,
what's your population base you're talking about?
It's we're in Grant County, Washington. It's 98,740, and the square miles is 2,791. But we're primarily farmland, rural. We don't have gigantic cities like Seattle. It's not at all like Western Washington where it's rainy. We get all 4 seasons. In Eastern Washington, it's quite different. So a lot of folks think we're rainy like Seattle, but we don't get much rain here. So it's beautiful.
Well, I was talking to a mutual friend of ours the other day, Megan Hawks.
Yeah.
And she was talking about how rainy it is.
Yeah, she's on the rainy side. Yeah.
Right.
So
well, you know what? Here's an interesting tidbit for you.
Mm-hmm.
I live in Jefferson City, Missouri. I don't remember the stats, but I get more rainfall than Seattle, Washington, in Jeff City right here.
Really? Wow. That's amazing.
I want to say 12 inches.
Wow.
But we get like 4 inches of rain in 30 minutes.
Yeah, the weather that comes in and makes it rain a lot for Seattle and Tacoma and all those places gets stopped at the Cascade Mountain Range. It doesn't come over here. It generally stays over on that, we call it the west side. The east side is just, almost like high desert, warm, we have all 4 seasons of max here. So we get a lot of snow, we get a lot of sunshine. It's beautiful.
Well, Jackie, I got to derail you for a minute. When you say west side and east side, I always think of the 90s rap era, and I just want to say, west side?
So dumb.
West Coast rap better than East Coast rap. What can I say?
I grew up in Seattle, so I'm a west side gal, I guess, but lived over here.
Yeah, you grew up in Seattle with all the serial killers. I mean, you got world-renowned serial killers in your backyard.
No, we sure did. Creepy. Very creepy. But I've been living over here since 1994, so and the funniest thing about the east and west side of Washington State is over here on the east side, we call everybody on the west side coasties. Going over to the coast,
You call them what?
Coast people, like the coast. It used to be only 2 area codes in the whole state, so we also called them 206ers. But now they got all these area codes, so we can't say that anymore.
Gotcha. So
I was
now
going
that makes me wonder.
Describe a little bit. I was going to describe a little bit about what it's like to be a 911 dispatcher. I think it's kind of hard to imagine, but one of the best things that I've seen that can help people understand is there's a movement called I Am 911. Have you heard of that or seen it? Either one of you?
Nope.
I Am 911. If you Google that, it'll bring you to a website that has stories from real dispatchers, including myself, of like the worst call they've taken or the funniest call they've taken. And they have their own podcast now. It's called Within the Trenches. I actually am in one of their podcasts. It's hard to listen to these because it's not the call itself you're listening to. It's the dispatchers, the impact to that dispatcher from that call. A lot of what's hard about the job is we don't always get closure. Like, I start the emergency and I get help going, but I don't get to know what happened in the end. Or if that person lives, because I got to go on to the next call. And with the HIPAA laws, you can't always know if somebody lived or died. And that's really hard when you spend a few minutes on the line with a pleading mother with a baby that's not breathing, and you're giving them CPR instructions, and you're trying, you're giving your absolute all, and off they go in the ambulance, but you don't necessarily get to know what happened afterwards. And that's
I didn't know that.
About this stuff. Yeah.
I know as a service provider that literally can drive 30. I average 30 to 50,000 miles a year on my car, and I don't even hardly leave my city. And driving back from an area, I've called 911 a lot of times. So as a citizen, I know what you're saying about the closure. I have watched guys swerving all over the road, and I'm too scared to pass them because they're so all over the road. And one minute they're doing 75, and next minute they're doing 55, and you're trying to, like, I don't know, like, do I pass them? What do I do? So I'll call 911 and I'll report the plates, and I was like, here's a make, here's a model. It's dark. I think it's gray. It could be silver, but here's the plate. And they're like, thank you. We'll send it out. And as a citizen, obviously I don't know who that plate belongs to. Yeah, I don't get to know, like, did I just pull a drunk off the road, or were they looking for, their cell phone on the floorboard of their car? It's like, I don't know, but man, if I'm calling in, it's like, man, you got to be pretty bad if you're all over the road and being a 24-hour emergency service guy, I've gone to cities, 60 miles south of me, let's say, and it's Lake of the Ozarks, and I'll drive back on a desolate 4-lane highway, but at 3 a.m, you see this swerving car. It's like, man, I don't want to pass them. I don't want to stay behind them because, like I said, they're doing 50 to 75. It's like, pick a speed, dude. Hit cruise control and swerve.
Better safe than sorry, and not pass them. But
yeah. Meanwhile,
I've done that too.
I'm probably driving as.
Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say I might be swerving, but I'm stone cold sober. But it's I've only been up for 28, 29, 30 hours, and I'm driving trying to stay awake and get home, and it's like, man, I don't want somebody calling on me for drunk driving if I'm just sleepy. But at the same time, I do realize that when you drive sleepy, it's not safe either.
Right. You can kill someone just as badly if you're sleepy.
Right.
Better to not drive. Anyway, I just wanted people to understand some of the impacts of the job. But you asked, what is it like? When you're trained and you know what to do when bad stuff happens, you just give me that baby that's not breathing, whatever. I can handle that because I know exactly what I'm supposed to do. So there's no fear when it comes to those kind of calls. But sometimes the calls don't go well, and you try as hard as you can, but when a caller is so hysterical they can't follow what you're saying or give you the information you need, what we do, what our prime job is finding out where it is and what it is, and we have split seconds to decide what to do. And we're trained, but sometimes when you can't get one piece of information that you need, it makes that part really stressful. So,
what kind of information are you talking about? Address or location?
We got to know the location first and foremost. Even if I don't know what's going on and all I hear is screaming, if I can get the address, I can send law enforcement first because they're out and about. Fire department, if I find out that they need fire or ambulance. Sometimes people are so hysterical they can't give you anything. So fortunately, our technology is starting to improve and get updated so that we can plot people where they are on the map, like the latitude, longitude coordinates. But technology has just increased and improved so fast. The 911 industry is like way slow to catch up. And there's apps on your phone that can find you better than 911 can in some places. Updated our system, right? We just this year updated our system so we can plot people more accurately on our maps right when they call in. And that's a new thing.
I thought if I called 911, you could ping the cell towers and find me.
Yeah, it's not that accurate. It's within a football field of where you are. People think it's pinpoint, like an app can do. But because of privacy laws or whatever, our industry has been slow to make this happen. But it is getting better. That one call of the boy that got trapped in his car in a parking lot, and did you hear about that call?
No.
There was a boy that was getting a tennis racket or something out of the back of his family minivan, and when he leaned over the back, the third seat back, it tipped over and it landed on, he was upside down and it landed on his neck and it was choking him out. And Yeah, his phone was in the car, so I don't know if he used Siri or what, but he called 911 with the phone somewhere in the car, and he described where he was. I mean, he called 2 different times, and they couldn't find him. That call just killed me. Just thinking about that call makes me so sad and so upset. We've got to do a better job of locating callers. And so, there's a lot of work being done right now to make those things better. But even though they had the parking lot he was in, they couldn't find him. They didn't know which car. I mean, they didn't have a pinpoint location. So that kind of stuff, 911 has to do a better job. I totally think that we're getting there, but, it never seems fast enough.
But you're talking about public resources and money.
Yeah. Number one thing you can say, if you can't say anything else, is say the address and say it clearly. That's the number one thing you can do when you call 911, because with that, we can at least go to the area that, even if we don't know what's wrong, a perfect world would be, tell me the address clearly and what happened, like my brother is choking and we're at blah, blah, blah address. That would be so perfect. Like, I have the 2 most important pieces of information in that first breath of the 911 call. It will make it go faster, but sometimes that doesn't happen. I'm sure you've heard some of the calls.
Well, I've been in situations where I call in 911 or the non-emergency number, And they'll say, well, where are you located? I was like, I don't know. I'm on Highway 54, but I'm between here and there, but I don't know where I'm at. But I'm driving.
That's pretty good. If you can say between here and that, we can at least go to that area and look for you.
Yeah. We're rolling 70 miles an hour, and the cop's sitting who knows where he's sitting.
Well, you both have children. It would be great to teach your children, your most traveled routes, what roadways those are, and help them understand locations, because believe it or not, parents can get unconscious in an accident, but the kid's alive and conscious, and if they can't provide a location, it's really hard. So I always taught my kids the highways we were on, and are we going eastbound or westbound, northbound or southbound. My kids know all those kind of things. They're all grown up now, but we made a game out of it.
That's
okay, what
tip.
highway are we on? Yeah, what highway are we on, guys? Okay, what are we going eastbound or westbound? And if they didn't know the answer, are we headed to Wenatchee? Or are we headed to Quincy? Know where you're going kind of thing would be really helpful. In fact, our statewide 911 public education message is know your location. A lot of people go like on vacation and they have no clue where they're at. But emergencies happen on vacation too. So if you can, if you're in a big facility, landmarks are good. But, like, let's say you're in the MGM Grand, in Las Vegas. That place is so gigantic. I don't know how Vegas dispatchers handle all that. I would love to watch them and what they do. So that's probably the most important thing to know about 911 is when you're going to call, don't hang up. Wait, because we're going to ask questions.
When you're hiring someone to clean your carpets, you're probably assuming that they're using better equipment and better cleaning solutions than you would. Unfortunately, this is not always the case. Their equipment should heat the water to 200 degrees to ensure that your carpets are not only clean, but disinfected. Next time you hire someone to clean your carpet or tile, ask them how hot their water gets. If they don't know or it's less than 200 degrees, send them back and call me, Lonnie Beecham, with Restore It Restoration. I'll get your carpets done right and your life back to normal.
Oftentimes, now I'm not saying everybody's like this, but we're like this. I might be taking your 911 and someone else is dispatching it while I'm asking questions. As soon as we have what it is and a location, we're going. We don't wait till the end of all the questions. As soon as we have what's wrong and what location, we're dispatching. So, and it's somebody else, my partner next to me doing that or whatever. So
that sort of answers what I was. Yeah, that sort of answers what I was wondering. Has anybody ever called and not
every place is like that?
Okay. Yeah, I was wondering if anybody would call just to have somebody else on the line, but not necessarily want somebody to come over. For whatever reason.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Huh.
Yes, we get lots of calls of people that just want to talk to somebody, and when we're really slammed, that's really difficult because the dispatchers, even though, Lonnie, you've heard some bad ones, they're very compassionate. They're in this to help people. And sometimes, people don't understand. We can't just stay on the phone all day. We've got incoming calls. So we try our best. We'll give them crisis line number, things like that to help them. I used to work in a crisis line before this work. And our goal was to stay on the line with them. So when I got into 911, it was like completely different. You got to get the information quickly. And really, the number one thing about the job is you're getting total chaos on the phone. It's like you're blind. You can't see what's going on. You have to pull out from what all the chaos is, what's going on and where it is. And you have to decide in split seconds what you're going to do with it. And we're very good at what we do, but there are calls that are totally, you can't figure it out. I've dispatched, I had a cell phone child caller one time who I couldn't make out what was going on, but the child was saying stop hitting me, and it sounded like a playground, and I didn't know where this was. The child never actually talked to me, but I could hear somebody, they were gonna fight with them, and the child was somewhere. So we dispatched to every school, every school and every playground, and look, and we never did find that kid. That bothered me. But you just got to do the best you can. That was before we could plot people on the map. We didn't have that capability. What we could do with a cell phone back in those days, we could find out what cell tower you were hitting and what sector. So as every cell tower has 3 sectors, this direction, that direction, that direction. I knew it was this cell tower, that direction. So I had all those schools in that general area, law enforcement go and look for, we never found them, and they hung up. So it's those kind of calls that you're like, I wonder what happened. I hope that little kid got to a teacher or something, but you don't get to know all the time. So those kind of calls are scary.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if people understand, but we're human beings, for God's sakes. We're not superhuman, and we're not immune to, the horrors that we hear. Some of them bother us. And yeah, that's what that Within the Trenches podcast, a lot of the episodes play calls that haunt us dispatchers. I have my own, and I'm on that one. There's one where I'm talking about the only time I almost lost it while dispatching, and I can't even think about it without getting emotional. So it stays with you, but you get through it, and you get to where you can do what you do every day. And
so what's the name of the podcast again?
It's called Within the Trenches. I highly recommend it if you ever wanted to know what it's like for 911.
Okay. We'll have to look it up.
Their tagline is, "Your worst day is our every day," but you can find it if you go to I Am 911.
Yeah, I know the audience is like, okay, so what is the story? What is it that makes her want to break down? But
that's what these stories are.
Yeah.
The episode I'm on is podcast. That podcast episode 281, and I'm at like the 28th minute of it. But these dispatchers, they're describing horrible things that happen. I mean, I've had a lot of horrible, awful calls, and because we can't see, we imagine really well, Probably one of the worst baby calls for me, and we've all had lots of baby calls, but
you're killing me, Jax.
I'm sorry, but this is the truth. This is what it's like for 911. Bad stuff happens to children too, and those basement old-fashioned storm. You enter from outside your house in these older,
Yeah.
It has a big heavy door that's flat, like parallel to the ground.
Yeah.
And
right. Yep.
a baby's head, this child got smashed by one of them. And taking that call and knowing I had children the same age as this child, and it just kills me because it did not sound good, and that baby didn't live, of course.
Oh.
But, those kind of things, that's what we have. We have to do our best and send the help. But my gosh, there's calls that stay with you, for sure.
Okay.
And we have critical incident stress debriefings, and most of our agencies have a employee assistance program, which offers free counseling, that kind of thing.
I have a dumb question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So you're a 911 dispatcher, and then you have an emergency at the office. Who does a 911 dispatcher call for an emergency?
We call ourselves. we just get things rolling.
That's
we
not
have
fair.
we have had medical. You name it. Over all the years I've been doing this, I've seen it. It happens.
So,
we send help for ourselves. And by the way, they get there fast.
I bet.
They know exactly where we are.
So, JJ,
Yes.
have you ever done a ride-along with the cops?
Yes. Before I became a dispatcher, I rode with a Seattle police officer named Eric Mitchell. We've been friends ever since, but he's my first interaction with any law enforcement officer, and the guy blew me away. I mean, just how smart he is. He's incredible. And by the way, he could type 100 words a minute. I was just like, man,
No kidding.
superhuman. Yeah, he is like the cop's cop. He's so good. He's still working to this day. But I think right now he does DRE, which means he's a drug recognition expert, and he handles the DUI squad, that kind of thing. So, but he's done it all.
I know in the days that I've done ride-alongs, I would use the mule system. What's that? Missouri? I don't know what. Some law enforcement thing, and I would type in my friend's license plates and find out who it's registered to and find out who their bank loan was from, stuff like that. I wasn't supposed to be typing on it, but
legal.
I did.
Yeah, that's not legal.
That's why I'm not naming names and
you're naughty.
Stuff like that.
You're so naughty.
but it was fun.
The first thing that Officer Mitchell did when I got in the car is he ran me. So I'm like, oh. He goes, yep, give me your name, date of birth, the whole thing. It was.
Yeah,
I
had a neighbor
I was a little bit intimidated, but at the same time, I was, just.
That's why he's doing his job, making sure you didn't have a warrant out and stuff.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be funny?
You said ran, right? Ran you?
Yeah. Yes, he ran me. Yep.
You rammed me.
No, ran like on the system. Through Access. That's the name of the system we use. Yeah. All
right, so tell us, let's lighten the mood.
Yes.
Tell us a funny story.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, my most funniest story that I could hardly kick out on the radio was school's out, and this is not where I work now, but in a couple of jobs ago. I got a 911 from a lady who said these boys, like 17, 18-year-olds, are all in the back of this pickup coming towards town from the high school on such and such street, and they have a giant inflated, she didn't want to say it, but it was a giant inflated dildo, like giant, like life-size, like 6 foot. And they were making motions with it as they're going down the road in the back of this pickup. And I'm like, oh my Lord, how do I kick this out? It's one of
the guys are going to love it.
Oh, when you kick out a call like that, all you get is a bunch of mic clicks from all the officers. Like, holy shit, can't say it. It's hilarious. That was probably my funniest call ever that I. Is
it illegal to ride in the back of a pickup with an 6 foot inflatable dildo? Or?
I guess. I don't know. I put it in as a lewd conduct and went with it. So I don't know that it's illegal, but maybe the boys would tumble out, and she was worried about them. I don't know.
Yeah, she might have been just uptight. She hadn't gotten any.
That was me.
Maybe.
I was one of the boys.
I could see a young Ruel and Lonnie doing these things.
Yeah.
Jackie, I got stories. If I told you half my stories,
well, I've
you
heard
wouldn't even
on your podcast.
Well, I told a friend of mine today some stories that I've never told anybody, including my wife. I had stories for days, for decades. I was a delinquent as a high schooler.
I'm just imagining the inflatable, and there's Lonnie and I at the base of this inflatable. I'm the left, he's the right nut, and yeah.
Oh, if only you could put a graphic with this podcast, that would be it.
Yeah, and Lonnie and I know that you're really good with the visuals in your line of work in your career. So
yeah.
Was it?
I do love graphics.
Yeah.
I was going to tell
JJ.
you, I did check out both of your areas because I do have your addresses, but I don't think Lonnie's area has text to 911, but I do think Ruel does have text to 911. And we have
Yeah, I
text.
don't think I do.
Yeah, you don't. But a lot of counties in Missouri do. So, and I,
Well, you
yeah.
need to call somebody for me, Jackie, because I don't know who to call about that.
Well,
Who regulates the law enforcement? I mean, they're the executive branch, right?
So this is 911. We have a state E911. They call it E for Enhanced 911. Advisory committee that's statewide committee, and there's many people that sit on this committee, including fire, law, everybody. Everybody has a piece of what we do, and our state, Washington State, I consider us pretty progressive technology-wise, but even now, since 2015, we only have 11 counties out of 39 counties that can do text to 911. We're one of them, and you can actually save lives with text, even though it's the worst way to communicate an emergency. But sometimes people can't talk because it's, bad guy is sitting next to them and has just been beating on them, boyfriend, girlfriend kind of thing.
Yeah, I can see that. They can text us for help, and we get there and we make arrests on, some of these. But the best part about text to 911 is for the hearing and speech impaired community. They can now just communicate with us right now without usually they go through a relay service or a TTY machine, all these ways. But now because we have text to 911, they can just text us directly when they need help. So it's an awesome tool, and I imagine eventually we'll be able to get video and pictures too, but right now we are really happy that we can get text. So if I can't talk because I'm hiding under my bed or in the closet because bad guy broke in my house, right,
I can text for help right now. So I can help you look for who to contact in your state, but they may be in the process. It all has to do with telephone equipment. So we just upgraded our equipment, and when we did, we got text-ready stuff. So I was happy to see Ruel has text in his county. So,
I know Lonnie's got a heart out, and I know that you're out saving lives, and I've got 10% on my phone. Can we have a little fun? Try something. I want to pretend I'm calling 911 because I have an emergency, and I wanted to get you to be the dispatcher. How does that sound, Lonnie? Can we do this?
Sure.
Okay.
Why not?
So I'll be like, okay, here we go. Ring.
Getting my pen. 911. What's the address of your emergency?
Hi. Is this 911? Hi.
Yes. What's the address of your emergency?
I'm at 533 Main Street. This city.
What city? Your city.
Cockadoodle Town.
Okay. Tell me exactly what happened.
So I hurt my back yesterday, and but that's not why I'm calling.
Okay.
What's
going on today?
I had a bathroom emergency. I needed to go to the bathroom really bad.
Okay.
So I've been sitting on the toilet, and I can't. I'm stressed out. I'm having a hard time. I can't, because of my back injury yesterday. I can't. And I've been sitting here too dang long. I can't get up. I can't get out of this toilet.
Okay, so you need some assistance getting off the commode?
Yes, but and I'm too embarrassed. But I tried.
Is your door locked?
Yeah, it's locked. And I'm only one in the house. I don't know why I locked the door when I'm the only one here. I don't know why I locked the door.
Okay, what's your phone number there? Just give me any number.
It's
5. We always ask it.
Okay, it's 544-44-544. But
Okay.
yeah, but
Okay. Any other? Are you experiencing pain?
I am, and I'm embarrassed to say I can't get out of the toilet, and I'm having a hard time. I barely was able to reach my cell phone or call you. I can't clean myself, unfortunately, and I tried, but I don't know what to do, and I'm too embarrassed to have somebody come over.
Okay. Well, I can send you some help. It'll probably be an ambulance. They'll come in, they'll assist you, and you don't have to go to the hospital if you don't need to. But they can at least help you and find out if there's something more serious wrong with you. Would that be okay?
Yeah, that's the thing. There's something that might be serious that I haven't described yet.
Okay. Then we should probably check it out. And honestly, Ruel, I normally would go to a certain card in my call-taking protocol, and it has the specific questions that I would ask, but I don't know those off the top of my head. So you
Okay.
need our help wiping your bum. Is that it?
No, I don't wear underwear ordinarily, and
That's okay.
and I don't know how else to say it, but my nutsack is stuck to my zipper.
Oh, okay. So, you need some extrication now. Okay, got it.
You need some extraction.
Yeah. And you know what's weird? That it doesn't hurt.
I've had these calls. Oh, my gosh. Yeah.
Okay.
Mine was a father whose son his body parts were stuck in one of those tape, the packing tape dispensers things.
Oh, no.
We don't ask why. We do not ask why, but he wanted to know, if he should get scissors or something, and we're like, don't touch him. We'll send the fire department. They will get him out of it. So those calls happen.
Wow.
Wow.
Teenage boys, they get into all kinds of situations.
Grown men too. Jackie, I got every year.
Okay.
I have somebody. So I do water extraction, right?
Yeah.
I have machinery designed to suck water out of subsurface areas. Every year, somebody will put this hose on their member and think it's funny. And then, believe it or not, in the 18 years when I was working for a previous company, we actually had a work comp claim because some guy got, I guess there's tendons and stuff in there, and he damaged his tendons from our extraction hose. And it's like, really, dude, you're 34 years old. You don't know? I mean, I get when you're 12 and you're experimenting, and, it feels good. I get that. But when you're 30-some years old, I mean, come on. Really?
Yep.
You got to do that? His name is
I am not
Frank.
surprised. Oh, good going, Frank. Does he listen to your podcast?
I don't know. I don't even know where he's at. I don't know what happened to him.
That's our second tip of the episode. First, teach your kids directions.
Right?
Second, don't put machinery into your junk.
Don't put your wiener in the vacuum.
Right.
Right.
Just a PSA we could come up with for that. That'd be hilarious.
And Jackie, I do need to go, but I do know the answer why I had the whole circus show up.
Why?
Whenever about the fire truck 6 years ago. So the house I was working in was 107 years old, and they were afraid that the old house and the proximity to neighbors, they could just see the whole block going out really fast. So that's why they sent everybody running code and blocking off the school intersection and everything, because smelling smoke is, usually means something. And so they knew it was 100. Well, based on the address and knowing the town, everyone knew it was an old neighborhood. And it's like, oh boy, old wiring, old house, old framing, old, who knows how many times it's been added on and who's done what wiring. They sent the cavalry, and I was very embarrassed because, like, really, I don't need to. And that's what they said. And what do you do when they show up? You just okay, we got a party.
You just let them do their thing and go with it. And by the way, remember I told you I had 2 different topics? We could do another podcast on my other topic, but survived a fully involved structure fire, and I have tips for people on that. So maybe we can talk about that next time.
Yeah.
I have stories about that too. Yep. Yeah. We can do that.
Yeah, for sure. So next time you need a podcast topic, I'm ready
what
with that one.
What was the date you threw out at me? Is October 12th or something at some time? It's like, girl, I don't plan next week. I'm reactionary. I don't know why I want to be October 12th.
Okay, well, I was just suggesting. I do plan.
But I hear
out. So
I hear that you're going to be in Flagstaff this weekend.
Yeah, I fly out tomorrow, and I will be there. And I hear there's quite a large contingency of NSNGers going. So
well, somebody told me that it's sold out.
I heard that too, but then today, my little group that I'm staying with a group of gals that are NSNGers, and they said they heard there's plenty of room. So I don't know what to believe. We'll just go and see.
Yeah, I don't know.
We got tickets, and I think there's still tickets available, but I don't know. So.
Well, by the time this comes out, it'll be over and done with. So.
All right.
I wished I was going to Flagstaff.
I will absolutely share the experience. You know me.
Yeah, you take a lot of photos. I was talking to somebody about the Kansas City meetup just today, actually. Somebody that wasn't there.
Well, I can guess who. Yeah, right, I didn't post my pictures as I went, like Stephanie and Kathleen, and so you have to go find the pictures that I took. It's weird. They're not like in the album of that event.
No, I think it's in the Kansas City meetup group, which I'm not a part of, and I don't know who the admin is and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So.
Well, either way, I have sold pictures because I pull them out once in a while and use them on you.
Yeah. Well, I have no shame. So,
Neither do I.
All right, folks. I got to go be a dad.
Okay.
I got to be a dad on a Friday night. So good catching up with you two.
Thanks, Jackie.
Well, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. And definitely check out the Within the Trenches podcast. That's real.
I think I will do that.
Right,
and 281?
281, and I'm mine
28 minutes?
28, just a little after 28 minutes or something like that. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if you'll recognize my voice.
Out.
They don't put people's names, which is what I love the most about it. It's all, well, on those particular podcast episodes, there are no names. It's just
I can understand why.
Very cool, folks.
Yeah.
Very cool.
All right, there she is.
There she is.
Jackie Jam on the move.
Good. Thanks, guys.
She's moving places. Until next time, this is Lonnie Beecham wanting to tell you to get your life back to normal. That's a wrap.
They'll get your life back to normal. Lonnie with Restore It Restoration.
Hello.
Hello.
There you are. Hi, Ruel.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. I should have made this appointment for 2:30, just because I know there's a bad cell area that's coming up in about 5-10 minutes, and then it's just a 5-minute bad cell area.
No worries.
Can't be avoided.
It's okay. I saw your text.
Yeah, if I cut out, I will call you back.
Shame on you for texting and driving.
I was at a light.
No,
Technically, you're not supposed to do it then either, but I did, just because.
I do the voice to text.
That sounds fancy. You're so fancy.
Yeah, and it comes off wrong, and like whatever. I think there's a beauty to typos.
It interprets some of your words the wrong. What's the worst one that ever happened?
Well, nothing too bad, but whenever I'm talking about the kids on a voice to text situation, my kids have Hawaiian first names, so Siri doesn't know what to do with all of that information.
Oh, you can't pre-program certain words that you use a lot that are not standard words, or?
There probably is. It's just I'm too lazy to go in there and do it.
It's just another reason why computers are not going to take over the world, because they're really not that smart. We have to do all the work of getting them set up so
it'll get there, but by that time, they'll all melt because of the climate change.
Oh my gosh, it's going to be something every other day. So,
I tell you what, I was out for a run, a midday run, and 2 blocks of a particular street in San Francisco was basically taken over by climate change people, and which like a lot of us, we've grown up understanding the recyclables, and then put the garbage in the garbage. And then it evolved to, there's now a green cart, so you can put the compost in the compost cart,
Oh, it's so complicated.
yeah, exactly. Like that.
Yo, I just joined.
Yeah. Hey, welcome, Lonnie.
You're loud.
Who's loud?
You are. I turned that down slightly. But I can hear you. That's the good news.
JJ,
Yay.
You're driving, aren't you?
I am driving. I just got off work. And seriously, unless you can do these things at night, this is the way it is.
No, this is perfect. I love it.
Yeah.
Ruel's usually walking around the city, or horns are blaring and everything else, so.
I know. I listen to every single one of both of your podcasts. So, yeah.
You must be that one and only listener then.
I'm that one, yeah. And I yell at you guys no, that's not how it is. The last one for sure. You're talking about firefighters.
Let's just kick it off then. Ruel can throw in some before and after intro crap. Let's just do it, because I kind of got to go at 5 o'clock my time. So what were you talking about yelling at about firefighters or whatever?
Oh, so on
Jackie?
your last podcast, first of all,
wait. You're what?
I'm coming up to a part of my commute that has bad cell. If I completely cut out, I will call back as soon as I get to the top of the hill that I know it's good again. So I can't avoid it. Part of my commute. I just want to get that in there in case I cut out. Sorry. Well, you'll have to do some editing tactics and all that.
Sounds good.
Why don't we just chit-chat for a minute then?
Okay, because I'm going to be there in just a minute and out of it in just a few minutes. So, yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you that I did prepare something to talk about.
Good, because I don't prepare a squat.
And I can talk about what it's on.
Yeah, we're not hearing much of what you're saying, Jackie.
Yeah, because I'm in that spot. Just another couple of minutes.
Okay.
All right.
So Lonnie, before you joined, we were just starting to talk about climate change people, and then started talking about how when I grew up, we learned about recycling, and then it became, don't just recycle, now you want to do compost, put stuff in the green cart, and how I get that, my kids learn it, and I respect that. Then you joined. I was going to get into a whole rant about we had a bunch of people block off two blocks of a city street here, talking about climate and stuff, and they had streets all painted in whatever message that they wanted to relay to sort of protest. And I'm like, that type of stuff really gets to me, because I'm one who believes that, the climate's changing, but I really personally don't believe that people are going to save anything.
No, we can't do it. And you and I are similar ages, and JJ there is older than us. I remember them, teachers talking about the new ice age that's coming, and now all of a sudden it's going to turn into global warming, and now it's climate change. It's like they don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah,
I believe in reducing, recycling, reusing. I do all that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't get up in arms if I throw away a piece of plastic or drink out of a straw. It's like, come on.
Yep. I'm going to make enemies real quick. Today we had garbage collection, and I ran out of space in my recycle cart. So I just put it in the garbage cart. Dun, dun, dun.
Well, don't get me started on this, because I had a thing. I got a protest going on because however many years ago my city deemed it to be like, all of a sudden we went from twice a week to once a week in trash pickup, but then they gave us these itty-bitty carts to recycle and to put our trash in. And I'm like, wait a minute, I'm for the people, of the people, let's vote on it. And they never voted. They just dictated it to us. And I finally got one big trash cart. I throw it all in there. Whenever I had to have the recycle cart, I would put it out there empty just to make them waste their time. And then my city now, this is such a wonderful thing. 20% of our population is utilizing the recycle cart. I'm like, well, that means 80% of the people are not using it. So how do you tout that as being some glamorous, big, wonderful thing whenever 20% in high school was an F all day long? Now all of a sudden it's a wonderful thing. And anyway, and my rates went up. I went from twice a week to once a week, and luckily I have a dumpster here at my shop, and I put the big boxes and the big bulk in it. And
there you go.
So JJ, are you back yet?
I'm almost to the top of the hill, and usually the signal is fine after I get there. So I'm just about there. Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear. I can hear your road noise, too.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
So you're not on you're not on earbuds then, are you?
No, I'm not. It's Bluetooth to my car.
Gotcha. Then you need a little Prius then that's quiet.
It's a super windy day here, so that's part of the road noise that you're hearing. So I apologize for that. Okay, I'm after the top of the hill. If you hear me fine, it should be good now.
Yay!
Yay!
And actually, Ruel, we should probably introduce our guest, since you and I know her, but I don't know who all listens. I don't track this at all. But why don't you kick us off? Let's do this real and let's make this right. And Jackie, introduce yourself, and I tend to call you JJ, and we'll go from there.
Okay, I'll kick it off. We'll do it right.
This has been another Coffee with Heavy Cream production.